Hey, what's up? Chris from Shown Roofing, now on the roof about to install a one-way breather for a client of ours. They have it nicely dotted out with some spray paint. It's much easier than going inside and crawling through the attic. First thing we're going to do is make sure that we are between the roof rafters or joists, or sorry, trusses. So we have one here. There. It's about 16-inch apart. Sometimes it's hard to tell. About there. Okay, so we're going to move his dot over a couple inches. Stay there. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is without removing. Is your finger in the camera, or is it good?
And there's no finger in the camera. I'm trying to get your work in the camera with your beautiful face.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're going to install this without removing any shingles. It's getting really cold out. These shingles are super brittle. They're not easy to pry up. So our general area is going to be here. I'm going to take my Wonder Bar pry bar and just lift these 3 shingles in this area so that we're able to cut them. So start by doing that. Loose. Should be good. Now the way we're going to line this up, general rule of thumb is having 12 to 18 inches between roof penetrations, so a vent, stink pipe, chimneys, all that kind of wonderful stuff. So if I go from here, I prefer 18 inches over 12. It gives a little more room to work, especially when you have to roof it in. You're not, if I try and put that there, that's just going to be a huge pain in the ass to get to work, and more than likely I'll end up damaging something or have to take this vent out. So we'll go 18 inches. That's our standard that we try and go by. And then I'm going to slide it down till it's at the bottom of the shingle here. And what that's going to do is allow me to cut these 2 shingles, leave a little bit at the top to go across, slide both pieces in, and then it'll be finished. I'm not going to have to remove any of these shingles, just cut out what I need to. Now, you don't want to cut out the size of the flange. I've seen people do that before. So we want to cut out just bigger. Get the right word for you. So that's 6 inches. So we're going to cut 7 inches of shingle out, so that we have about a ½ inch on each side coming down, to leave a little trough for water to travel. Dot vent, roughly there. Measure 18 inches, plenty of room from that pipe. So this is a good spot to put it. We determined we're going to cut 7 inches of the shingle out, and we're going to cut it out of these 2 courses because these 2 are going to go on top of this flange. So I'm going to use my trusty pencil here, and 3.5 is going to be the middle. So we're going to be right here, and 7 is going to be here. And I eyeball this. You could get a square, a speed square if you had one up here. Set it up on the shingle and just draw your straight line, draw it down, but squirrel fight. We do this so often, we're pretty good at guesstimating. So watch me screw this one up now. Now on this top one, we're gonna leave an inch of shingle. We're not gonna cut right to the very top. So actually his dot was in a perfect spot. And we do use tin snips or shears. My good shears are on a job site, I think, somewhere. So I'm using an old crappy pair of yellows. Cutting these with a hook blade is almost impossible in November in Canada, so that's why we're using something to cut them with. First piece of garbage. Okay, second piece here. Now we are going to pull out the knife. So this top layer of shingle we can definitely cut with a knife. It's only one ply. Okay, part the garbage too. We're going to cut this course, which we'll be going on top of about there. This one we only need to cut this course to allow this piece to drop in. So if I put it on where it's going to be centered, and that'll give us lots of room to cut the wood. So don't cut this third course all the way down. You need that to be there intact. Cut our paper out. All right, most of the hard work's done. Now we are going to loosen any nails on this course, second course, third course, and that'll allow our both pieces just to slide right in, be nice and easy. So start on this row. Sometimes you get lucky and there's not too many in the way. Get one there. Okay, and that should be it. Best way to test is to keep this upside down. Awesome, all the nails are out, so we're good to go with that. When it's on the roof, it's gonna sit like this. Oops. I don't know if you can see that. So that part's gonna go on first when we cut our hole, and then this flange is gonna sit on top, but you gotta make sure that these things line up. So they do give you quite a bit of play. There's probably a good inch of play between the 4-inch. So the collar that's going inside the roof has a 5 and a 4-inch hookup. So we need to cut our hole at least 5.5 by 5.5, give ourselves a little wiggle room. So center of this is 3.5. And I'll just eyeball center that way. And I'll do 5.5. 2.5 across here. You can use a hole saw if you like, since it's a round collar going through. I just cut them square because it's easier, and I don't have a giant hole saw I bring up with me. Okay, so now we'll do our quick test. It sits in, so we cut it big enough. If If it catches and won't sit down, you just got to cut your hole a little bit bigger. This part takes a little finessing of lifting the shingles. Just gently. All right, part one, the collar's in. You got to make sure on this top part, I don't know if you can come down here. Here I can, we'll switch it out. Okay. So this top part of the collar, when you're sliding it in, there's 2 layers of shingles there. So this is the first layer, the second layer. So accidentally you can get this collar in between these 2 layers. See where it's separating a little bit? So you want to make sure that you get all the way under, and if you can get under that felt paper, it's going to be a little tough here, so we're just going to go on top. But make sure you get under both those layers of shingles. That's a tip number 1. So now I'm going to reach in, make sure there's nothing around. Yeah, so we're clear. Andrew, the bang on, buddy. You got it dead center. Good job. Okay. So we're gonna grab a couple of roofing nails. You want to make sure that collar is secure, because they might, when the HVAC guys are hooking it up, push up and down on it. So make sure you got, 4 nails should be lots to hold it in place. And now for the final part, we're going to install the one-way breather. Same way, start at the bottom, slide it up. When we get to the top, make sure you're under both layers of shingles again. And stitch. There she goes. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll lift up these top rows, put a nail just on the outside of the flange through the shingle instead of lifting the whole shingle up. 2 screws in the front, 2 nails on the side, and then we'll also gently lift up on the top and get sealant under the courses of shingles, so it seals right to this flange. These one-way breathers are exhausting hot, humid air all the time. So if you don't seal around it with either a little bit of ice and water shield or some sealant under the shingles, that hot air can work itself back in and start to rot out this area really quickly. So we're gonna do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, so we're going to get our sealant, our thermoplastic sealant. Is that better? We're gonna get it under the shingles and on top of the flange. That creates a seal, basically a gasket around this vent, and will help any hot air and rain, everything else from getting back under. Once that's done, I'm going to put an extra nail in each flange in the side here to make sure that this thing's pinned down and not going to get lifted up with any wind. And then, because it's cold and we did lift a bunch of these shingles, we're in November, just had a 150K windstorm. We're gonna put a few dabs of sealant under all the shingles that we unsealed by lifting them up, and that's just going to ensure that we don't have any blow-offs. All right, that's it. That's how you install a one-way breather on an existing roof. We go through a couple extra steps to make sure hot air from the exhaust and excess moisture are not going to get back into the roof system and rot the roof out. All right, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.